When thinking about the Indian Act, the question that comes to mind is, why is it that up till now, the Indian Act is still an act in this country? It really doesn't make sense that such an act was created to govern the lives of the First Nations, Métis and Inuit people, also known as the FNMI, as if the FNMI were not capable of doing that themselves. For those who are not aware, the Indian Act is an act that was consolidated in 1876, sought to assimilate Indian people into Canadian society, and was formed over time through pieces of colonial legislation. This absurd act has made a huge contribution to the sad lives that the Indians have faced, restricting them from freedom, from gender equality, owning their culture, and more. Of all the parts within the Indian Act, the section that infuriates me the most is the Potlach law, where celebrations, the distribution of wealth, establishment of rank, and much more happened in potlatches. This pisses me off so much due to the fact being that potlatches and ceremonies were banned from being within the culture. I find this so disgusting because the Indian agents and missionaries were fully aware of how important this was to the First Nation culture, and they purposely took it away, knowing that it would help them achieve assimilation. If the missionaries, government, and the Indian agents could get the First Nations to veer from their culture, then they would be able to replace it with Christianity and be in control. Sure, the law was removed from the act, but after 71 years, it took them 71 years to realize that what they were doing was wrong. You would expect these people to be well educated and good, yet they were just horrible. The damage is done, and so much of what would have been great history is gone, making it hard for their traditions to be passed down from generation to generation. It makes it very hard to understand why this was placed in the act. Did the agents and missionaries hate these ceremonies to so much extent that there would be consequences as far as being arrested for celebrating and embracing who you are and where you come from? Don't you find that atrocious? Because I sure do. Imagine living a life where you grow up in your culture peacefully, and people you don't know or associate with suddenly come and strip part of it from you, telling you what you can keep and what you can't. How would you feel? How would you feel? Because I know that I would be both terrified and angry that I wouldn't be able to celebrate my traditions and express my happiness for the culture that I came from. People think that just because Canada apologized for the grief that the Indians faced, everything is okay. But no, it isn't. You cannot just make a speech about how sorry you are and expect it to cover for decades of mistreatment. Decades. The Potlach law is a part of why they still continue to be angry. It took many valuable things away from them and prevented them from passing down their oral history. So it made it difficult for their culture to live on. I find it good that the government is trying to do the right thing, but it's not enough. It's not. They need to act upon their calls to action and work harder to create some change. Before Canada can make amends and relationships with other countries, they need to stop and take a look upon their own country and work harder to fix the tension so that we can solve this. I think that we need to start learning more about the First Nation culture and educate others on this issue. It wouldn't be able to fix everything, but it would be a great start towards change. Thank you for listening to my rant.